It's your boy, Mr. Rock Out the Barber, and we back again with another Shop Talk podcast episode number 2. You heard me? And I got the same crew that I had last time. That don't make no difference though, cause you already know how it go. And those are just bars. But y'all can follow me on IG at Mr._Rock Out the Barber, and I'm gonna let them tell y'all what to follow them at on their social medias as well, and then we're gonna get right into it. Let's go.
Yes, sir. You can follow me on Instagram, official now, Urban Cuts. Follow me on Facebook, Urban Cuts.
Well, I'm gonna stop you right there. You said official, so it's a fake Urban too. We got a fake one too.
Yeah, I got fans. You feel me?
Oh, okay, I got you.
Sort of a big deal.
Got you. I understand.
Yo, it's Torpedo the Barber. Follow me on IG at Torpedo the Barber or Facebook, Alex Davis.
Yo, it's Della Fonte. You can follow me on TikTok, Della_Fonte, and then Instagram, Della.Fonte.
Yo, what's going on, y'all? My name is Keyshawn Brown. Platinum_Cuts by Sean on Instagram. Y'all already know what time it is, man. Success is a mindset. Let's get it.
I'm gonna point this out. Della Fonte, you're the only person that be putting your TikTok and like the following.
No, I ain't
I gotta watch your TikTok. I ain't seen your TikTok. Alright, man. So today, this episode topic is a good one, but a touchy one. And we're gonna respect everybody's beliefs. We're gonna respect everybody's opinions, no matter where they came from, what religion, any of that. This topic is simple. It's why my generation don't like going to church, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and say one point that I feel like why my generation don't like going to church, and I'm gonna let my peers piggyback off of it, or say what they got to say. One reason I feel like my generation don't like going to church is, number one, because you got so many people that claim to be so perfect in church. You get what I'm saying? You have I don't even know.
Hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy. There we go.
That's my point.
There we go. Hypocrisy. And I'm gonna let you go. You can go ahead and start off.
I feel like for me, and why I don't go to church is really based off of that. A lot of people are hypocrites when it comes to church, and the Catholic Church is from what I've seen. Mm-hmm. A lot of people like to put on a show, and they want to look the best and be the best, but they really be in church doing good, but outside of church they do worse. So I feel like that's what strayed me away from going to church at all. Because I feel like within you got God within you. So as long as you find that peace within you and God, I feel like you don't have to go to church. Mm-hmm. I feel like there is a good connection though. That's just me.
I feel like, from my point of view, people try to force it on you, especially like Christians. They try to force, you have to go to church, to believe in God. And I mean, to me, it's just like, why force it on somebody? Mm-hmm. Like what Torpedo said, as long as you know God, God knows you, y'all both, like, you believe in Him outside of church, you shouldn't have to force that on nobody.
For sure.
So, damn, my opinion is...
This boy, go ahead.
So, my opinion is that the new generation, like, it's really based off the culture, Oh, like, going to church is lame, and worshiping God is lame and stuff. Like, people rather just tote guns around, smoke, do drugs, pop a perk, all that shit. Yeah, so... I'm just saying.
You're right, though. I mean, today's generation is all about putting on,
right?
And, flexing.
Exactly.
You got something to say? You ain't got nothing to say?
I agree with y'all.
I mean, bro, if you got something to say, say it. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's for. You know what I'm saying? The people want it.
Hey, I mean, I just agree with y'all. I feel like I'm gonna say the same thing y'all said. So, but yeah, honestly, I just feel like it should be a choice, and like you say, like most of the time what I see in Christian churches is forced. Cause I know as a kid, I know I was like, my grandma was like, hey, well, you going to church on Sunday? I don't care what you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Monday through Saturday, Sunday, you get there. No ifs, ands, buts about it. And like that what it was. But it's like when I got older, I was like, okay, it's my choice now. I feel like I probably should have had a choice when I was younger. But I mean, when you up on somebody's roof, you listen to what they say. You know what I'm saying? Unless you want to lead high. So I've found myself back in church now because at the end of the day, I like to be my own person, and I just feel like that's a place where I thrive. I thrive at. I like the atmosphere, and also just being able to learn, more into. Cause I'm really not like the most educated when it comes down to like the church and being about. So it's like I've been there, done that, but there's a lot of things I learned as a kid I forgot. You know what I'm saying? Some of the things like I forgot. But it's like now I've chosen to actually go back to church and actually get involved and stuff because I see what I'm trying to do in life, and I feel like everything is kind of like for a reason. I got a purpose. I believe in a higher power and everything like that. I don't really stress nobody about being like a certain religion because at the end of the day, everybody got their own choice. It's a whole lot of different religions that you can believe in, but you got to know that it is something greater than what you are like as a human.
That's real. I seen a post on Facebook earlier this week, and I shared it. It said that y'all are just too comfortable with going to hell for me. Like it's a lot of people now that are just comfortable with going to hell. So I'm gonna ask this question: do y'all believe in heaven and hell?
No, absolutely. I mean, there's a clear difference, old lady brought up in church, very nice lady, than someone compared to like Jeffrey Dahmer or some shit like that. There has to be a middle line. You feel me?
I don't feel like there's a heaven or hell. I feel like it's a spiritual thing.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? Like you spiritually go to heaven or hell.
Okay. So how would you get to like that spiritual realm? Right there.
Being at peace with God. I mean, being at peace with yourself.
Yeah.
I know that in life we always commit sins and I mean that's part of life.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I feel like if you're true to yourself and you're true to God, you'll find that peace, and like if heaven is your peace, you go to heaven.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I feel like, in my opinion, it's like you can't just eat people and kill people. And
I mean, for sure. No. I'm not saying that there's not a heaven or hell. I'm saying that like you choose what your heaven and hell is.
Right.
Okay. From behind the camera, we got somebody that want to say something.
Okay, so I have a question for y'all. So from a barber's perspective, somebody cut their hair at home.
Mm-hmm.
They cool with that. But then once they go to the barber shop, they get a haircut from a barber, professional barber, and they're like, yo, this changed the game. I'm not doing it at home anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So do you allow how you feel about your home cuts to keep you from going to the barber shop? Or if you had a bad experience with a barber, do you allow that to not allow you to go to another barber?
I get what you're saying.
So you go to church, you see fakeness. It's supposed to be about you and God. So do you allow the fakeness that you see to stop you from having your relationship with God? Just like the barber, you had a bad experience with the barber, he messed your hair up. So do you not go to another barber? Or do
you find another barber?
I get what you're saying, because it's like if
you had a bad experience
if you
church,
if your plug gave you some runts and you order you ask him to front you some za, you know what I'm saying? You don't stop buying weed, you just find you another plug.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if you have a bad experience at one church, you don't stop going to
church. I feel like there's a church for everybody.
You just gotta find it.
You just gotta find your church.
Yeah. A lot of people just base it off of one thing and say church, but
there's so many different.
One church ain't gonna be like the other church. It's just not gonna be.
Even religions, breaking it down, like a Baptist is not gonna be the same thing as a Methodist.
And honestly,
different aspects to it.
All of that, the Baptist and the Methodist and Catholic and all of that, to me personally, is man-made. All of that is man-made. Because if you read the Bible,
it all says the same.
It say the same thing.
I feel like it's all different perspective. It's not a different religion. It's just a different point of view. Because from what I've known, there's like for us, we have the Virgin Mary, Jesus Christ, and God.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't believe and worship Mary, but like in the Catholic religion, we do because she's the mother of Jesus.
Of Jesus.
And that's just, it comes out to that. Like some people just don't believe this, and some people believe this.
So I see it like as a religious step. I see everybody just kind of take what they want from
Yeah.
the Bible, from whatever they believe,
make it
and
fit
make it
them.
their own thing.
It
So
make
it's
it
like
their own thing. I was just talking to James about that earlier because I had said something. One of his clients was in the chair and she was like, "Let me borrow $5. No, let me hold $5. Something like that." She said, and I was, handing her the $5, and she was like, "Oh no, I'm just playing. I'm just playing." And I was like, I said, I'm gonna give her one thing about me. I don't mind giving nobody money,
right.
and that don't mean that y'all just,
I'm borrowing.
Ask you about money.
But,
I was just about to ask you about
I
it. Don't worry
said,
about it.
I don't mind giving nobody money because money can return to you, your time can't, or whatever. But then I had said, for money is the root of all evil. And then I had started talking crazy. Then I turned around and I said, no, the love of money is the root of all evil. You know what I'm saying? So
Love
people,
of money.
and I do think that is another reason why a lot of people my age don't like going to church, because if we can't see where the money going, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't tell me about being wealthy if you ain't never been wealthy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So if we don't see where the money going in the church, or what am I, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I
But
feel
for
like-
me personally, this is the reason why I tithe and why I give my offering. This is my personal reason. Number one, tithing is a requirement. 10%, that's all he requires. So if I make $100, he only asks for me to give $10.
Mhm.
That's the only thing he asking of me. But offering is what I give from my heart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
That's what you got.
That's what I got.
Mm-hmm.
But I do also believe that tithes can be something else. If you don't have the money right then and there, give him your time.
Mhm.
It's 24 hours in a day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
definitely.
Give him your time. He not always asking for money. This is just what I believe.
Yeah.
He not always asking for money. But if you got it, sow it. If you don't, give him something else.
Is that
You know what I'm saying? To
in
make
time-
up
Even if you don't have like a lot of money like somebody else, that little money is gonna get you farther than how much the person next to you has more than you.
I'm glad you said that, because the Bible says that he loves a cheerful giver. And a lot of us go to church and we only tithe
That
and give offerings
10%.
simply because that's what the Bible asks.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? We tithe because we feel like we gotta get a church money. We feel like we feel like we obligated to do it. But if you're not cheerful about giving it, it's the little stuff like that people miss out on and wonder why they're not being blessed. It's because, number one, if you giving it because you feeling obligated to give it, don't give it because he don't want it. That's just my personal
Because
opinion.
it's not going to be the same for you and for him.
Right.
Yeah.
If Keyshawn put his offering and tithe in there and he happy about it, but I'm just like, bro, I'm only putting this in the offering plate because
But see, this is the thing. Let me say something right there. I feel like in life, and this goes for everything, comparison is the killer of all joy. When you looking at somebody, what somebody else is giving, and you compare it to what you giving, yeah, you gonna feel a certain type of way about it because you may not be working and getting that money like how you getting that money. So that means he got more to give, and if he got it to give God, let him give it. Because at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure he getting his blessing.
Yeah.
Just like you should be getting your blessing. But the only reason why you missing your blessing is because you paying attention to what somebody else.
You paying attention to somebody else's pockets.
Come on.
Their pockets.
And you can't do that.
You can't.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So, like, when pastors are preaching and when it comes to tithing, how do you feel about them putting out a specific number of how much you need to tithe?
Well,
Like, let's say, oh, we're trying to build this, I need you, or they'll word it differently, but basically saying, I need you to put down $100.
well, I'm glad you asked that question because Sunday I had to go to a church in Reynolds, Georgia and lead praise and worship, and it was his pastoral anniversary. So he didn't ask for anything. He didn't ask for nothing. He didn't even he touched the mic, but when he touched the mic, he only prayed, at the end of service when church was over.
Close.
Close, did the benediction. And for me personally, I believe that pastors, if you're a leader of a church, if you pastor a church and you watch over people, you are a shepherd of people, you watch over people's souls. Number one, the Bible says in 1 Timothy, I want to say 5 and 7. Don't get me wrong now, but I know it's in 1 Timothy. But that he's worthy of double honor, preaching and teaching. So I feel like whoever the pastor is of that church is worthy of being paid a salary.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because that's just like, if they do that full time and that's how they pay their bills, pay them.
Ain't nothing in life free.
Ain't nothing in life free. Just like we barbers,
We gotta get paid.
we got to get paid.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how I see it. I do feel like whoever is the leader of a church or of that church or whatever you want to say, however you want to word it, I do believe that they are worthy of being paid. It ain't your job to count their pockets. It ain't your job to worry about what they spending the money on. That ain't your job. That ain't. And I know us as people, we be like, bro, he got a new watch on. I wanted that. Didn't you want him to get that new watch, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? So stuff like that. I feel like we go to church. Not I'm saying we as in general. We go to church to watch what people doing, what people got on, what gimmicks they doing in church, or what they got going on or whatever. And that's just not what God called us to do. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people want the bride but don't want the union. And what I mean by that is they'll go to church or whatever, but they don't want that relationship with God. And nowadays,
why
you got
you went
people,
to church if you don't want a relationship?
you know
with
what I'm
God?
saying? And a lot of people nowadays replacing God with, and y'all can say whatever y'all want to say, universe, and I'm manifesting this and I'm manifesting that. First off, if you read the Bible, I'm not gonna go deep into it. This ain't no Bible study. So, but the word manifest in the Bible is not even bringing something towards you. That's not what the word manifest means. We just done created our own definition, or just go off of Google or whatever, what we done read or what we done heard, and say, oh, I'm manifesting this and I'm manifesting that. Well, you reap what you sow. So if you manifesting this and you not sowing that, how you expect to reap it?
Yeah. Hallelujah.
Preach.
So if I want
rock out,
if I want more money to come to me, that means I gotta sow more money. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't gonna come to me within like weeks or whatever. Or an hour. If I plant a tomato seed, I can't expect that tomato to be done tomorrow.
Yeah,
it takes time. It gotta grow. So I'm a firm believer in you reap what you sow. That's why I believe in doing right by people, treating people right. I don't care what people have said to me, what people have done to me. That's on you. I'm not responsible for how you treat me, but I am responsible for how I treat you.
Okay, but how would y'all feel? Because even though I'm 21, last year when I was 20, I didn't go to the same church with my parents. So the and that's why I asked you that question about how do you feel about the pastor asking for a specific amount of money. The church that I went to, I'm not going to put him on blast, but the church that I went to, he was asking for a specific amount of money to put as in tithe. And then nothing was being shown in the church. He will put it out there like, oh, this is for the church, we're going to build this, we're going to build that, but none of that was happening. So my question for y'all is, how would y'all feel in that position at that moment?
I mean, sure, I would have left, because what the Bible says is that we should all live like a conservative life. Like, wealth should not even exist. You feel me? Like what you saying, right? Hey, about pastors getting paid, absolutely they should get paid. Hey, they're organizing everything. But all these pastors, mega churches and stuff, they're flying on private planes and stuff like that. No pastor should be able to do that and then worship God like that. That's very hypocritical.
At the same time, they have the experience of, being pastors, but then at the same time, their church has grown to a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, but you're using that money for selfishness. You could, instead of buying that $1 million jet.
Hold on. But hold on. You gotta separate the church's money from the pastor's money. You know what I'm saying? When the pastor get paid,
the church now. I'm just saying.
I
get what you're saying.
I wish I could break it down how I really want to break it down, because I've been in church all my life. I was raised in a Baptist church. I ain't got time. I only got 20 minutes. I've been in the Baptist. I was raised in the Baptist church, right? But I'm part of a non-denominational church now. But what you saying that these pastors, I know, matter of fact, there is one pastor that I know off rip, that I go to just about every other Sunday in Atlanta. I ain't gonna say his name, but he does not take a salary from his church. He doesn't get paid from his church. He works a 9 to 5 and pastors a church. He's a sheriff. Moved from New York and started and planted his church here in a successful church. I'm talking about church has blown up. Not a mega church, but his church has blown up. It's popular. It's a good church. But he doesn't take a salary. Now, he does own a private jet. And it's on his Instagram page. He does own a Rolls Royce.
Mhm.
It's on his Instagram page. You know what I'm saying? He does have all this fancy jewelry and all these fancy shoes and stuff like that. But he does not take a salary from his church. His church does not pay him. So how his church runs is off of the money that he makes as a sheriff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? From his 9 to 5.
Damn, sheriff's paying that much?
I ain't gonna say they paying that much, but I say I guess.
I'm finna be 12 soon, boy. Fuck cutting
Yo,
hair.
you two, hold on, bro. Can't get your ass shot.
Crazy. You know,
But how do you know it's truly coming from that 9 to 5? You can say something, but you can.
And see, this is another church issue. This is another issue as us as people. We are not supposed to be coming to church to see what you got going on. You know what I'm saying? Just
Yeah, but
because
at
you're
the
riding
same
the
time,
private
it's
jet,
gonna bother you though.
It-
It's gonna like,
that's
oh,
because
I see him with this.
that's because you're not at peace. You know what I'm saying? So if it bothers you, you're not at peace.
I feel like
You
this
don't
right
have to-
here.
Go ahead.
My bad. I didn't mean to cut
No,
you
you
off.
good, bro.
I feel like God see intention. Like everything I do, let's say for instance, you see a homeless person side of the road, right? I see them all the time. People they say they got these signs. They say, hey, I'm homeless. Just drop some money in my, you know, I need you to drop some money on me. I ain't got nowhere to stay. My kids in the streets or whatever like that. And you know, a lot of times I feel like people be kind of like putting on when they do that because ain't no way that you got on some brand new shoes and doing all this stuff and you saying you homeless. Now I'm feeling like you getting in the car. Oh, after you done stood on the side.
That happens.
Some people have got
for 5 hours. And it's like, it's some people that's really like that, and it's some people that's really putting on. Because I done seen people, you know, say they living in their car, and they may go pull up at a house later on. I done seen it. You know, so it's like, at the end of the day, if I give you my money, I know what my intention is, to bless you. God looking at that. He looking at my heart and saying that, okay, at the end of the day, I know why you gave them that money. What they choose to do with it, it's on them. Because at the end of the day, that's your blessing. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving you this money because I know I want to bless you. If you go to choose, you gonna go get you a 3-5 with it. Go get high. But at the end of the day, I blessed you. I know what I did.
I know.
My job is done right there.
And I did my part. That's why the Bible says, man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart. And like Keyshawn said, you couldn't put it in no better words than that. Because I was gonna make.
Because I know what you was trying to say.
Yeah, I was gonna make a point like that. And that's funny he said it because when I was in the military in California, I did like every other Saturday I would go buy a lot of food from McDonald's or Burger King or whatever fast food restaurant and go give it to the homeless people that was on the side of the road. And I kid you not, there was this one particular homeless man, or claimed that he was homeless, on the side of the road across the street from the base on the other side of the railroad tracks. I kid you not, one Saturday I gave him food and a drink. The next day I seen this man driving a BMW. I promise you, I seen it with my own eyes. I seen it with my own eyes. So, it, like you said, now it kind of do.
It kind of make you a little angry a little bit.
I done gave him man.
He got a better car than I do.
Shit. And he probably living in a mansion. Like that man driving a BMW.
That might be
gave him
getting
man
in
food.
for the side.
You know what I'm saying? But long as I was pure with my intentions, well, he got to give an account to that. He got to you know, talk to the higher power, whatever you want to say, or God or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't. I did my part. So
I mean, like I said, I don't have a problem with giving, and it's not that I'm not at peace. It's just like when you see certain pastors, and you don't see growth, and you don't see anything happening to the building, but you're seeing him, like you said, like driving the Rolls Royce and all that, all those, you know. I'm not saying that pastor does, but like you see him driving fancy cars and. You know,
And you
everything,
don't see nothing
like
happening
everything new that, like, let's say like rappers are dressing like, he dresses like that, all those fancy clothes and stuff. But at the same time, you're gonna think and you're gonna have a problem with that because one, there's no growth. There's no growth in people in the church. People aren't gonna get the same effect how like like the pastor in Atlanta, how his people is getting the growth. Because they're gonna more likely think, okay, he's not spending his money well. He's buying a whole bunch of other stuff, but we're not growing in God, so we're gonna leave. So at the same time, you're gonna think in your head, that's a problem where you're more likely gonna get upset about it. So it's not that I don't have peace or I don't mind giving money. It's just that when I see things like that, I have to sit there, deeply think about, is my money where it's supposed to go, where they're saying it's going to? You know what I'm saying? So it's not like
No, most definitely. Because then in that situation, you just find another church where you can see the growth of it. It's like, okay, I can see where my money is going to something that I respect.
And that's your
I
option.
just go to there, you know.
because then that's when I finally went back with my parents to like. Then we started finding churches. Now we find the actual like at this church that we've been at now. We've been there for about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm seeing growth. He connects with everybody. He damn near has everybody's number. And if he doesn't, he wants to get it. He's good. He's good with teenagers, kids.
And that's really
Basically like college students. So it's like I'm seeing growth. I'm seeing people grow from what they have started, from what I saw, and I've grown a lot more going to that church. So that makes me want to give my tithe a little bit more, because I may not, have all that type of money, but I'm still giving God just that little bit amount of money that I have, and I know I'm gonna reap what I sow of doing good.
you pouring into them.
So I've grown. Like he says, like your cup will over. I'll fill your cup and it'll overflow. So I've seen that in certain situations that I've been in, where some jobs I have gotten a lot more money. Even on top of that, more money, promotions and all that stuff. So I know I've been growing throughout being in that church for years. So
That's one big issue in the church is money. Now I'm gonna touch on this. This is really a tough one right
I
here.
need a part two after this.
I'm gonna touch on this. Money is a big issue for people, and this one right here I know for sure is a big issue with people. And they try and make it the biggest sin of it all. Homosexuality. Do y'all feel like
I don't feel like that has anything to do with.
No. Hold on. I'm finna get to the point.
Yeah.
Because nowadays you do have a lot of people that are in the pulpit
Yeah.
that are homosexuals. I'm trying to be as respectful as I can about the topic, because
it's very
I know
sensitive.
Ain't nobody trying to get canceled here.
yeah, I ain't trying to get
Yeah.
canceled. I ain't trying to get canceled. Well, I ain't even popular enough to get canceled.
You almost did.
Homosexuality. Do y'all feel like you can pastor or lead people and you're gay?
Are you talking about
Let me ask
being
you
in a
this.
pastor?
Do
like-
you feel like if I had a church, no, I ain't even gonna put myself in this situation because I'm not gay, so I'm not even gonna put myself in it. Do you feel like any lead pastor of a church that has a church, do you feel like they can be gay and pastor people?
Knowing Christians and how, well, I'm not going to say all Christians, knowing some Christians and how they act in church towards straight pastor, whatever, knowing how they think, they're not going to want to go to that church of a person being gay and trying to lead and trying to be a pastor. They're not going to go to that.
What?
Because they're not-
hold on,
they're
let me
not
cut
gonna
you
have
off right there.
respect.
What difference does it make though?
It
Because
doesn't make a
it shouldn't
difference.
matter what somebody does outside of the church, unless like if they're teaching you about God and about the Bible. Why does what they do outside of church matter? And in a sense of
shouldn't
like,
matter though.
you can't tell him not to date a girl. Why are you gonna tell a guy not to date a guy? And I just feel like that's just with rights in general.
But at the same
Right.
time, I feel like
that's
between them and God.
Exactly, it's between you and
Because
God. So at that point, why?
It shouldn't matter even if
I guess
you're
that comes
gay.
with
It
hypocrisy.
shouldn't matter whether you want to be a pastor or not, because God is the only one that can judge you.
Yeah.
You're gonna have God's judgment is the only one that's gonna matter at the end of the day.
Trying to go.
This is a good one. This is a good one right here. This is a good one. I personally feel like, this is my personal opinion.
I'm about to get ignorant in here.
No, it ain't about to get ignorant. I do believe that you can be gay and bleed people and pastor a church. That's just what I believe. And I believe it because the Bible says in Luke chapter 6 to show grace the same way that Jesus showed grace.
Mm-hmm.
And really, that's really the only thing that's keeping us alive is grace and mercy. Because if God took grace and mercy from each and every one of us, we wouldn't be here. You know what I'm saying? No sin is greater than the other. Just because you sin differently than I sin,
It's a sin.
it's still a sin.
Yeah.
So that's why I say that I do believe that you can be gay and pastor a church. Now, is it right? It may not be right, but I do believe
That
that
it
it is
can
possible,
happen.
that
feel
it
like-
can
I
happen.
feel like
Because
that-
you got a lot of churches now in Atlanta area to be specific,
Atlanta.
to where they pastor a
Yeah,
church
that's
and they
right.
are married and they call, traditional church, man and woman is supposed to be together, be fruitful and multiply. But a lot of churches in Atlanta, they'll pastor church and they'll call what's supposed to be the first lady the first G, as in first guy. You get what I'm saying? That's a popular thing now in Atlanta, or that's a popular thing now. Period. And I don't know. I'm
But,
trying
I
to be
mean-
respectful as I can on the
Yeah.
topic, but
But I mean, for me, as if I wouldn't mind going, because at the end of the day, God created that person. God already knew they were gonna like females, they were gonna like males. So at the end of the day, I can't judge them for trying to be a pastor or trying to lead a person, because at this.
hypocrisy. Because, and I don't feel like I'm coming towards you, but we just made a point to where about the church taking money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now we get this. Now it goes from, I don't see where my money going. I don't see the church growing, to, that ain't my job to. You know what I'm saying? Just because.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I
like,
get
like,
what you're
like,
saying.
like he just said, God knows what He created before it's created, right?
Mhm.
So if being a homosexual was
Cool.
such a sin, why did He create that in the first place? You get what I'm saying?
Ooh,
Do you-
torpedo.
Like being realistic though, of
That
of
is
it's
true.
such a sin. Why is it in this world?
Because He gave us free choice and free will.
We were born in sin.
We were born in sin. We were born in iniquity. A lot of people say that Jesus said we were born in iniquity. Jesus never said that in the Bible. David said that. We were born in iniquity. But He gave us free choice. Now James tell us all the time here in the barbershop, you can say, he tell me, you can say whatever you want to say.
Just know there's consequences.
Just know there's consequences behind what you gonna say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta reap what you sow. So, with free choice, if I choose to do something that I know is wrong, I just gotta accept the consequences that come behind it.
Mhm.
If I know selling drugs is wrong, I gotta accept going to jail sooner or later,
Mhm.
Or getting wrong.
or getting robbed. Whatever come behind that, I gotta accept
It's a
it.
domino effect too. So,
And by domino effect, what you mean? Expound on.
like you said, like if you selling drugs and you get caught, you go to jail. I mean, whatever else happened to you, you lose your kid, you lose your house, you lose your family.
Mm-hmm.
Like and
It
everything
come
keep
with it,
happening.
yeah.
And then when you get out, it's like, I can't find a job. I'm a convicted felon.
So
It's like,
you gotta restart.
What you did yesterday is gonna determine your tomorrow.
Mhm.
So it's like you gotta know. You just gotta know. You gotta understand that like everything that you do, it comes with a consequence.
And then everybody's gonna
Good or bad though too.
know.
Cause you could be a good person and it still come with a consequence. Because everybody in this world don't like a good person.
Mm-hmm.
You could be homosexual and it come with a consequence. You can have sex before marriage, it come with a consequence. Everything that's in the Bible that everybody say not to do, you know what I'm saying, that's looked at as sin. Like you say, one sin is not greater than the other. At the end of the day, it's still sin. We all born in it. It's your choice to make what sin you want to do. You can't put one higher than the other.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you just got to understand that it's got to be growth in your life or whatever you do. You may have been doing something wrong, last year. That don't mean you got to keep doing it. You know what I'm saying? Next year come or tomorrow come, you can make that choice today. Whether you say, okay, I ain't going to do this no more. I feel like it's wrong. Especially if you're following a certain religion, because with a certain religion, whatever you follow, you got to understand that it's a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you looking at right here is like list. Here we go. We can't go down the list and say, I'm gonna bump that to the sky and scratch that out. I'm not gonna do this, but I'm gonna do this, and this.
Yeah.
you still did it, regardless of the
you
fact.
can't-
That's a
you
whole lot of
get-
believers because we pick and choose what we want to take out the Bible.
Exactly.
We pick and choose what we want to believe in. We pick and choose this, and because this. Because I like this, okay, I'm gonna live by that, but I don't really
I
like
ain't
it.
gonna live by that, though.
No, I'm gonna put that out to the side. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and never mind. I ain't gonna touch on that.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I got a
I'll touch on
question.
that.
What do you think about religion versus science?
I mean, I feel like
I'm a
science
firm
will-
believer in both, in a sense.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay, well, let me ask you this: do you think God is real?
Yes.
Okay.
But I do believe that there's a scientific reason how we were made and why we were made. Can I explain it? No. But I do believe it. If that makes sense.
That makes sense.
in a sense, I believe in science.
Now, I do be
I
thinking
ain't
about
say-
that
I'm about
sometimes
to
though.
say-
I do be thinking about that sometimes because he was like, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. That's in the book of Genesis. Genesis means the beginning. Revelation means the end. Whatever. Bye. Get back to that. But I do be thinking now. I do just sit in my room and I be like, okay, before Jesus was here, what was
What
here?
was he?
Well,
But they say the earth was void. The earth was without.
It was nothing.
You know, it was nothing. So, but still in my head, it's just like, okay,
What was before God?
what was before God? What was before earth?
And it do say BC
What-
in the back, like don't it? It say
Before
BC
Christ,
before
yeah.
Christ.
That's
So-
Jesus. That's before.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. So okay.
But really,
God,
we should be saying what was before God because it say in the beginning God created the heavens and
in
the
earth.
earth. So we
Exactly.
should be saying what
What
what was before God? What created God?
What created God? That's what I'm saying. So it's like
I do be thinking about this stuff sometimes. Though. I ain't
I
even
think-
sitting
And
here playing with you.
that's why I understand why certain people say, I don't believe in God, I don't go to church, because basically they're saying, oh, we breathe in air, but can you see the air?
Mhm.
You believe in it because you're breathing it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it's like, I understand why people be like, is God really real? Is Jesus Christ really real? So, you gotta understand, like, I understand from both point of views, science,
I feel like there's a
religion,
balance.
And respecting
Yeah.
each other's
That's right.
opinions too.
Yeah. And not one is nobody knows who's 100% right.
Mhm.
yeah.
And that's why I feel like
Yeah, I feel it, like,
it's what you believe in. It's
Yeah.
your perspective.
and it's
We're not
also
gonna know
with,
till we
like,
die.
when
Is
you-
that because ain't nobody telling here told me. Some people I done heard people say they done died and came back and they seen this and that. I ain't never did that. They could be telling me anything. They might have been on something.
Or-
I ain't never took what they took. Because I don't know. I ain't never died.
Pop
though.
perks.
Yeah, pop
Yeah.
perk.
Hey, what-
Pop
what-
some perk.
what you say? Hey, I heard that comedian say, "This folks dying out here that they never died before."
It's also when you put yourself in that position too at the same time.
Right.
So it's like you're not really thinking about what you're doing,
Mm-hmm.
but then I feel like when you're in that position, back on when you said that domino effect, you really start to think about, I shouldn't have done this, and like what you said about your future, what you do today or like right now, tonight or whatever,
I face show tomorrow.
you can face your tomorrow. I feel like we don't think about what we do the day before, and then all of a sudden you're like, man, this really messed me up. So, not everybody's perfect. Not everybody's, going to do the right things or bad things. But at the same time, when you mess up, you're like, man, this is gonna mess me up later on in the future. Like when you do drugs and you get arrested, that's gonna be on your record forever, even when you got arrested. So then jobs nowadays, you're gonna be janitor, working at McDonald's that really don't care that you got arrested. So you gotta
that
think.
goes back to free choice though, because you know what you're doing is wrong.
It's your choice to decide whether you're gonna keep doing it or not.
Right.
But how do you feel? I'm not saying y'all ever been in this position.
We got 5 minutes. Go ahead.
Like, I'm not saying y'all been in this position, but let's say, matter of fact, I'll use an example, but I'm not gonna say names. My mom told me about a story about one of her coworkers' son ended up getting a charge for being an accomplice when he didn't know something happened. How do you feel about like that situation on falling in your future?
That's just being at the wrong place at the
Wrong
wrong
time.
Now, at the end of the
I
day, you
didn't
know
hear
the
it.
I
type
think
of
fair.
people you're around. You feel me?
There
You
we
know
go
what
with
type
the-
of bullshit.
That's-
they're
But
on.
at the, but at
So
the
why
time,
would you even associate yourself
but at the
with
time, according to him,
He
What was the
knows.
question?
he didn't know. Like he basically put up a front.
that? Yeah, I feel
He didn't know that he was gonna go do that to the girl. He didn't know about his lifestyle.
to the
All they did was hang around at school. One day they went together outside of school, and that happened. So he just put up a front like, "Oh yeah, man, I'm good. I'm doing good in life. I got this and that." So like when you put yourself in that position, as soon as it happens, in your mind you're like, "Man, I shouldn't like that gut feeling. I shouldn't have went with him today, or I shouldn't have done this with this person."
I do believe that everybody has a spirit of discernment, though.
What is that? 'Cause I don't know what that is.
Spirit of discernment is basically saying, okay, maybe I shouldn't go to this party because
You always get that
People like that
feeling.
bad feeling. Okay.
yeah. So if it's basically like going with your gut feeling. If you feel like something bad gonna happen, if you feel like something bad gonna happen, don't go.
Don't go.
You know what I'm saying?
That happened to me. Speaking of that,
And I feel like
happened
it's
to me
your
last
like-
night.
It's a hard thing, but I do feel like you got to be in tune with your higher power or whatever you feel like. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that relationship with God, because
Your mind can tell you anything.
Hey, bro, it's okay. We got part 2 coming.
We got part 2.
we're gonna have to have a part
We got
two.
part
Of
two.
this. We're gonna have to have a part 2 of this. But I do. I'm gonna say this, and then y'all can say whatever y'all gotta say, and I'm gonna be done. I do like going back to the spirit of discernment. I do believe that God don't speak to everybody the same. How he speak to me, he don't speak to Urban. How he speak to Urban, he don't speak to Keyshawn. How he speak to Keyshawn, he don't speak to Delafonte and Torpedo. He speak to people differently. But you just have to be in tune
To listen.
enough
To listen.
To
what he's
listen.
saying.
Tell you.
Cause
Because
God, he gonna talk to you whatever way is best for you. It's like prime example, right? I might be able to tell you it's like, hey, like do this, do this, do this. You feel me? Then you got automatically. On the other hand, I might look at someone else and be like, hey, do this, do this, do this. They're not gonna pick up a damn thing. I might actually have to show them hands on hand, hand on hand training. That's how God gonna speak to everyone different.
Because that's what some people are. Some people are hands-on.
Mm-hmm.
Some people can just sit behind a desk or sit in a chair, and Mr. Rockout can, like I said, I'm trying to learn how to cut hair.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more hands-on. If Mr. Rockout is I'm just sitting there, just watching him. He's talking to me.
You're not
I'm gonna hear it and I can see it.
Mm-hmm.
But for me to be, I'm not gonna say as good as he is, but be as good as I can be, I had to do hands-on.
Mhm.
Right.
So God, like you said, God's gonna talk to us different ways on how we learn things. Because my mom always told me, like you said, God talks to us differently. So one day God's gonna lay his hands off. All right, I'm gonna sit back and watch him learn. Watch him learn from his mistakes. But then God can still have his hands on Torpedo and be like, all right, I'm giving you that gut feeling. Like, I'm giving you a warning. Your gut feeling is
So
your
you can
warning.
warn me, but
To
let
not-
you fall. Is what
Exactly.
It's like parenting. My mama can tell me, hey, sit down, don't touch this. But if Keyshawn, her child, she'll have to say, if you touch this, I'm gonna break your hands, feet, knuckles, neck, and all of this. It's like
Yeah.
parenting
Okay.
differently.
Yeah.
You can talk to me a certain way and I'm gonna understand. But if you just tell him to sit down, he not gonna do it. You gotta threaten him
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
in order for him to even listen. That don't mean that he not gonna do it. He gonna listen, but when he do it, he just gonna be like, dang, I know
I should have
I
listened.
should have listened.
Yeah.
Cause my hands, feet, and knuckles about to get broke.
You
You know what I'm saying?
example, like with my brother was like 10, 12. I don't know, like 10, 11, and 12. My mom left the stove on because she was gonna go back to put the pot back on. She told my brother not to touch it. He touched it, burnt his hand, had to go to the hospital. So
Bet he didn't do that shit again.
now he didn't do it again. So now he listens, and we all listen. But like y'all said, God talks to us differently on how the way not really operate, but he knows how we are, so he has to talk to each and every single one of us.
Definitely.
Man, this is a good podcast. We definitely gonna be back
Yes, sir.
with part 2 of episode 2. But once again, man, this is Mr. Rock Out the Barber. Y'all follow me on IG once again at Mr. _Rock Out the Barber. And we done, man. Thank y'all.